and welcome to the 2016 Paris Motor Show. As ever with big international motor shows, there's lots to look forward to, new launches, new concepts, and the latest technology. Shapur, I think as ever there's going to be lots for us, but I think the India-specific stuff is what we should be looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a whole range of new products, new production cars as well as new concepts, and we've been told that this is going to be the sort of transition here where we see a lot of electric vehicles, production cars, and really far out concepts coming to the market.
So let's go have a look at what's new and what's hot.
Our first stop was Renault, where the French car maker hit a home run with a stunning concept car.
The star at the Renault stand at the Paris Motor Show is this, the Renault Trésor, which is a concept car, it's a GT car, and it represents Renault's future design language. This car is sensual, it's warm, it's very organic looking, and what Renault says, it's all about life. It's about giving a human face to a car.
The Trésor is an easy concept to like, but here are some cars you can expect to see on our roads in the not too distant future.
The facelifted version of the Hyundai i10 makes its debut here at the Paris Motor Show. Now, it's not quite like the i10 or the Grand i10 we get in India. This European version is a bit different. It's a little bit more compact, a little sportier from the rear. Cabin space isn't as much as the Grand i10, which has a longer wheelbase. But what's interesting about this car is the grille. It's a nice, aggressive-looking grille, and that could be carried over to the Indian Grand i10 as well.
And as has been the case over the last few years, there were more options amongst the SUVs. I'm standing with the new SClass that's got an all-new nose. It's got a new toothy grille that's probably more directed at the Chinese market. It's got all-new headlights, and it's got a wider chin with less painted material, much more rugged looking. We expect this to come to India in maybe around 6 or 8 months. But the key difference is we may not get this very grille for India. They may change it. Suzuki and Maruti in India, they may change this grille before they launch this facelifted car there.
We're here at the Audi stall, and the big one for us in India is this, the all-new Audi Q5. Now it looks a bit evolutionary, but there's a lot of interesting design touches in here. Look at that grille, it's quite aggressive. The lights, they look terrific. And just take a look at that really sharp and solid shoulder line. It's definitely bigger than before, but it's around 90 kilos lighter as well. It's based on a platform that's similar to the Q7, so a bit of a shrunken Q7 in such respects. And the rear end, there's a little bit of Q7 in there as well. Well, the cockpit of the Q5, it's like the latest Audis, the latest family of Audi. So what that means is you get this lovely virtual cockpit, a very high resolution screen, top quality materials. What you don't get are the air vents that really extend across the dashboard like in the Q7, but really high quality bits in here, which is really what you expect from an Audi.
I'm standing with the all-new Discovery from Land Rover. Now, this is not to be confused with the Discovery Sport, the much smaller version. This Discovery is a full-size SUV, a 7-seater around the size and price of a Q7. What's new in this car? Well, let me tell you, it's completely new. Whereas the earlier one was a hardcore off-roader and built on a ladder frame chassis and made of steel, this new one is more bonded aluminium. What's the weight difference? An amazing 480 kilos. Of course, the big difference between this car and the earlier Discovery is how rugged that old car was. It was square-jawed, it had lots of cladding. This new one is a lot more sophisticated, a lot of clean lines, sharp details, smooth surfaces. It isn't really an off-roader if you look at it, and that's a big change. Now on the inside, if you're expecting a rough off-roader with seats you can wash down or hose down, forget it. This is as luxurious, this is almost as luxurious as a proper Range Rover. Look at the trim, look at the leather quality, it's beautiful aluminium inserts, super wide screen, the same steering wheel we get on those cars, the Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, and just as much luxury, almost as much. But something I really like is this clever little switch. It opens up to give you nice storage space here, so you can put things in there which you want to keep secure. Really clever. Of course, what makes it really different is the fact that it's got all this serious off-roader hardware. The low range, the ability to lift the car, the locking differentials, it's got it all. And of course, it does it automatically for you as well. It's a Land Rover after all. Once in the back, you're placed a bit lower than in the front, and seat comfort isn't as good, especially because your knees are up. But you can vary the length. You can come forward, you can go back, and there's all sorts of combinations, and that makes this quite practical. Interestingly, there's a whole range of engines from Land Rover, including a 2-liter diesel, and that will give Land Rover in India a lot of flexibility as to where they'll price it and place it. Let's see what they do when they bring this car to India next year. We aren't done with SUVs yet, because here's a concept that isn't all that far from a production car. I'm standing with the X2 concept from BMW, a really low-roofed, sporty SUV. Much in the mold of the X6, really attacking low-roof profile. It's got an interesting grille. It's an upturned BMW grille for the first time. Lovely X-Mark laser lights and a very aggressive lower chin. BMW say they're going to make this car on the UK L platform. That's the same front-wheel drive platform as the X1. And that would mean it won't have basically the same kind of handling characteristics as something like an X3 or an X5. It won't be predominantly rear-wheel drive, but they say it will be the sportiest of the lot. Now, although the window line looks like it's a two-door, if you look closely, it's a four-door vehicle. And of course, BMW, being BMW, has put something of their heritage in there. You can see the BMW roundel on the C-pillar. I think it looks fabulous, and I love the placement. This year's Paris show was brimful of electric concepts. But the one that really stood out was this one from Volkswagen. I'm sitting in Volkswagen's ID Concept, which is a fully electric, part autonomous driving vehicle. As you can see, I'm asked to drive manually, and it's offered me the steering. Of course, this is the concept, but what they're talking about, the MEB platform, the new electric car platform, that's a serious exercise. The whole plan is to get a Golf-sized car priced at the same amount in the next 2 or 3 years. Now, of course, I know that's a huge ask to get a modern electric car on the road at that price, but Volkswagen think we have the engineering skills to actually do it.
So Shapur, didn't take too long to go through the show. It was a little low-key this year. A lot of manufacturers not there.
You can tell that there's a bit of a transition going on, and you know the move to the new sort of environment, the electric environment, and that was really apparent. But
yeah, and diesel also was clearly it was very low-key.
Yeah, you can say, even though and Renault made some statements recently, so I think also on the back burner in the rest of the world, not just in India.
Yeah, so talking specifically about the India's specific cars, I think the Q5, that really is the one closest which we're going to see and get.
Yeah.
So very interesting, again, like a baby Q7.
Absolutely.
It's got a lot of similar styling Q, especially at the rear, and looks much beefier and a little bit more aggressive than before.
It's got a little more legroom in the back, which is very important for our sort of market.
Yeah.
And I also like the Discovery a lot. Beautifully clean lines, really attractive looking car, and it will have a much more accessible position. I think it will be much cheaper than the Range Rovers and the Range Rover Sports of the world. So
that's right. The Discovery, in fact, it really looks quite different.
It has that thing that Indian customers love, that practicality of the 7 seats.
And I think for me, concept-wise, it was the Renault Trezor, which I just absolutely fell in love with. I think for me it was a real showstopper, not a straight edge anywhere.
Absolutely, and it just shows where Renault is in the design world today. You know, they're just getting everything spot on. You know,
Well, I think the quick success is largely because of the design.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think from that standpoint, Renault has really killed
They're
it.
going to get the first really attractive looking one in the new age, kind of way, the capture. And I think for me, I really like the ID concept. I know it's a bit far out and it's a bit into the future, but it shows Volkswagen's commitment to the electric cause. And they said for the CEO to come and say very clearly, we are going after Tesla, that's a big statement.
That is a big statement, and I think overall the show, as Shapur says, it was really focusing on environmental trends going forward. Again, diesel had taken a backseat. It's all about hybrids, electric mobility. From an India standpoint, not too much. We did have a few vehicles which are definitely coming our way. But again, as always, a motor show, there's just so much to feast your eyes on. Hope you enjoyed watching the show too.